Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Ma. Jai Ma. Sabko Jai Ma. Let's see the question today. It's a YouTube user, the username. There are lots of questions she has asked. Jai Ma Swamiji, how to increase concentration during Nam Jap? How to keep the motivation for Jap and meditation ongoing, especially when the same problem keeps persisting? Is seeking something from Ma very wrong during Jap, or how to do sadhana without any expectations? So lots of questions together she has asked, and she's asked it a little differently, and I have kind of placed it a little differently, because it was a little long, and to fit such a long question in a thumbnail is very difficult. So I have just, compressed it a little bit. So, there are lots of things that you need to do. See, first of all, you need to understand that it is not easy to immediately get concentration when you're doing Jap Dhyan. Very difficult, okay? And secondly, you see, I don't know what you do. Actually, I don't know, how you live and what you do. But if you're living in a household where there are lots of people, then what happens generally is your mind is half in the worldly affairs and half is in the spiritual world. Where you want to do like Jap Dhyan, whatever you want to do. So wo bad jata hai, it's divided between the two. Now to have complete concentration, first of all, it takes a long time, like I told you. And in order to get into that slot of spirituality, you need to keep company with people who do satsang, who are connected with Ma, who are kind of like-minded, who like to talk about Ma and discuss things about Ma and, explain things also. So satsang is very important, which Ma has always said. So do satsang with people who you think would like to, talk about spirituality. Then, if you have the opportunity to meet sadhus, mahatmas, that also helps a lot because their blessings are a lot, You just be with them and their blessings come to you, automatically. They don't have to do anything. Neither do you have to request anything because their aura is so powerful that you get blessed, So there are these little things that you have to do in your everyday life. Keep this kind of company so your mind is diverted more to spirituality. Secondly, when you sit down for Jap Dhyan, now, I would suggest that if you have a separate room with a door or something and you shut the door and nobody enters the place when you're doing Jap Dhyan, it's much better. Like a secluded area, because concentration immediately nahi aata hai. So if you have a secluded room like that where you can sit by yourself, and there are 2-3 things you can do. One is just sit on your asana because initially it takes a long time for you to sit and do Jap Dhyan. Pehle Jap Dhyan mat karo. Just sit on your asana and breathe in and out. Breathe in and out and concentrate on your breath. See, initially it takes about 20 minutes for you to settle down on the asana and then start Jap. Immediately Jap karne baith jaoge ya dhyan, it won't happen. Your mind, because mind is very chanchal. It is running everywhere in all different directions. So you need to concentrate on that, on the breath. I used to do something different, I used to play a lot of bhajans in my mandir. I have a separate mandir room, but there is a lot of chatter going on in the house. There are maids and there are staff and, help and all that, and whoever is in the house. There's a lot of noise going on of the world, okay? Whether it is outside the house, whether it is inside the house, there is always some chatter going on. So I used to play very softly. I used to play some bhajans, stutis, पंडित जसराज है, भीमसेन जोशी है, स्तुतिज है अलग अलग. I used to have that tape recorder with me. Those days, so I used to keep a tape recorder with the cassettes, जो छोटी-छोटी cassettes मिलती थी. And I would play that. I would not do anything. I would just sit and listen to that first. That itself brought me into the mood. And all the worldly matter and clutter was disconnected for me. That was my way, okay? I'm telling you my way. So all that chuck that goes on in the world just stopped for me, because I jumped into a different dimension of the spiritual world by just listening to this kind of stuff. Slowly, as soon as you sit on your asana, also you're breathing heavily. Slowly that breath also becomes calmer and calmer and calmer and calmer. And then slowly, after 20 minutes or something, you pick up your japa, you do your dhyan, whatever you're doing, your practice. Let the music go on. I used to let it go on till I finished my puja. I wouldn't stop that, and that brought me into a very beautiful space. So that is what I would suggest to you. Try. These are different ways of doing things, and you have to try what suits you best. Okay, this is what suited me. Breathing also. Just concentrate on your breath, like I told you initially. Okay, then the mind gets concentrated. Now I'll give you one example. Jaise when you are in the company of, say the satsangis, or you are in the ashram, like recently it happened. Lots of my people I know had gone for the Bhagavad Saptah to Kankhal, Haridwar. And they were so excited, exhilarated, because that atmosphere is like that. Everybody's sitting and doing satsang, and Bhagavad chal raha hai, and music is going on. There are songs, and they are singing, and bhajan ga rahe hain. Atmosphere is so different. So there were certain people who were not from the mass fraternity. They had also gone to attend this Bhagavad. There was so much of excitement with them. It was like a battery charge. Battery charge ho jati hai when you are in this kind of a company. So they said, where are we? What are we doing in Bombay? What are we doing? What kind of a world are we living in? This is the real world. And this is a world which is like a dream come true. Why would we want to go back to Bombay? This is such a beautiful world. And we never imagined that there would be something like this. Now what happens is, temporarily, when you are in that kind of an atmosphere, you feel very exhilarated and very good about everything, because aapki battery charge ho gayi hai. Then what happens if you don't continue with that practice, your jap, dhyan, whatever, then you come back to Bombay, supposing. The battery gets diffused, because again you are in the worldly matter and the worldly clutter goes on. So वो दुनियादारी में जो पड़ जाते हैं ना, फिर वो spirituality backseat ले लेता है. And that should not happen, because it's like a seesaw. One time you are in the sea and you are in the saw, So one leg is in the spiritual world and one leg is in the worldly world, That has to be balanced out. You have to perform your worldly duties if you are a householder. Everything you have to perform, but never to forget your spiritual side. Never to forget why you are here and what are you doing, why are you doing Japa Dhyan. Never to forget that. And to expect anything from Ma, everybody has this thing, that when they are sitting to pray, I think you've asked me that kind of question. Let me see again, okay? Is seeking something from Ma very wrong during Jap? During Jap, yes, of course. Don't do things like that. आप जप किस लिए करते हो? For things, for expectations, for you have expectations that Ma will do this for me, do that for me, then that is not the right reason to be doing jap and dhyan. Jap dhyan you are doing because you want to come to yourself, you want to come to the truth, you want to be with Ma. That is the reason we are doing puja part, we are doing sadhana, we are doing whatever. Now if you're doing it like I know certain people who regularly go to Tirupati Balaji, and they say, अरे हम तो तिरुपति बालाजी गए और वहाँ से हम लड्डू ले आए हैं, आपके लिए प्रसाद लाए हैं. I say thank you very much. और इस बार तो जो बोला कि मतलब हमारा बिजनेस हो जाएगा, if we succeed in our business, we'll come back and put 2 more laddus, give you 2 more laddus. And I'm just looking and I'm saying, wow. So, people do that. Then what happens is, Bhagwan एक बार देगा, दूसरी बार भी देगा, तीसरी, चौथी, पांचवी. Bhagwan is expecting you to change. That, okay, I will go on granting whatever you want to a certain extent. But then when you become very greedy, like, you go on asking 10, 15 times, then you will not get it. Initially, yes, Bhagwan will give you, so that you feel confident that, yes, Bhagwan mera sun rahe hain. After that, you have to step aside and forget your expectations and say, no, I'm not here for this. If जो आदमी मुझे कुछ दे सकता है, जो भगवान मुझे दे सकता है, वो मैं अपने आप को भी मांग लूं तो भगवान मुझे दे सकते हैं. तो why am I asking for such trivial things? Why not ask भगवान मुझे अपने से मिलाओ? That is the best thing to do. So Bhagwan will give you, Ma will give you 10, 15, 20 times. After that, no, she'll take away everything. Nothing will remain with you, because you have to come to yourself and you have to go empty-handed. You have to leave this dharamshala and go home. You can't go with all your worldly possessions, right? So, expectation to ask for things, nothing is wrong in front of Ma. Ma ke samne sab kuch mango, kuch bhi nahi. Ma will never judge you. Ma will never criticize you. But is that the reason why you're doing Jap Dhyan? Think about it. Ask yourself these questions. So that's all I have to say to you. Jai Ma. I'll see you next time.